Halo, I have here a couple of the latest Mega Construx Halo armor packs with one figure each and some alternate helmets and armor pieces. On the left is the Covert Ops armor pack, and on the right is the Siege armor pack. I found both of these at a brick and mortar Target location some time ago, and I'm going to open them up, check out what's inside, and show you some of the combinations and permutations. So here's the Covert armor pack with the, I guess you can call it an armor locker. You could potentially call it a wardrobe. That's a new thing for I'm supposing these are 2019 sets. Maybe they were supposed to come out in 2018, you never know. But it has specialized mounting points for armor pieces, and those use the standard locations, so you should be able to fit most of the modern armor pieces on there, especially the body armor fits over here very securely. Helmets fit very securely as well on ball joints. They're little elbow-shaped pieces that hold those. The special pieces that hold the shoulder armor pads in, though, don't work all that well. The pieces fall off pretty easily. They don't really snap on. They just kind of settle over the top. So they stay in place as long as you don't move the thing around too much, but then they will fall off. So if you close this up and you move it around, they will most likely fall off inside there. But at least this will keep them inside. This is actually a pretty nice looking little thing with some gaps on the sides, but I guess that's okay. You can store it this way and make it look like a trunk. It's got, attachment points around the outside, including these bars, which are using the standard size. So you could actually have figures carrying these around if you want, or you could clip things to them. And you can attach all sorts of things from the back as well. Here's the default build of the figure that comes pre-assembled. Up a little bit closer. I did not recognize that helmet myself. It is Stinger. It's one that I don't believe that they've done before at all, ever. Just a interesting choice. I guess it is a little bit different, but it looks pretty accurate to what I've seen for pictures of this. I really haven't seen it in use very much myself. I certainly haven't used it ever in game myself, but it looks pretty proper. Comes with just an assault rifle. Almost about to fall out of his hand there, but that's just done in the I believe that's the brightest silver color that they mold things in. Yeah, I think that's the brightest of silvers. And you can see that the armor itself is not quite black. It's effectively black, but it has just a little bit of tone to it, just a little bit of purple tone to it. And then the undersuit is just done in a dark gray color. And then, they do give you the additional armor pieces, so let me show you some of the other options. Hunter is an obvious one to go with the smooth armor pieces. We've gotten Hunters before, but I think this color scheme looks pretty good, pretty mean. I guess we've gotten some dark ones before, dark color schemes before to represent Locke. So this might be a little bit close to some things you may have gotten before if you've collected a bunch of these figures. But I still think it's pretty cool, and it's not the only option in this pack. I think that it's a good one to offer up if somebody wants to use it. And this was marketed quite a bit. I think it's a pretty mean looking helmet design. So I think it's a cool one, but not my favorite, or probably not the most desirable from a collectability perspective. And then here's an Athlon variety. So for this I changed out the helmet and the body armor and the shoulder armor as well. It's almost tough to notice the difference in the shoulder armor. And when you look at it from the side, you can see the design there. But both sets of shoulder pads that they include with this set are rounded and fairly sleek and close to the arms. So there's really not a whole lot of aesthetic difference that you'll notice there unless you're looking really closely. Certainly the armor piece, the main chest armor piece, is quite different. And that helmet, we've gotten before, but I don't think we've gotten it in a color scheme that's this dark. Athlon usually tries to stand out. I think he was most popular in the early HCS days, and they did the HCS specific skin variants for it, color variants. But this one's pretty decent looking. I think that Mega may have gone just a little bit high with the design. Everything's a little bit high up towards the shoulders where the main armor sits. Now for the Siege armor pack. Fortunately, I have had this in hand long enough that my over-exuberant enthusiasm towards this, and the return of EOD has faded, so I can actually talk normally about this and not just get completely giddy about it. Mega has not done an EOD helmet in quite some time. I was almost certain that they were gone for good. I actually stocked up on some extras myself because EOD is the old school for me, my old favorite. But they've got a new one here. You know, Halo 5 brought out quite some time ago the classic helmets pack, which included an EOD helmet in it. I bought that very quickly, and so I'm happy to get this. Let's take a closer look though. Oh, first, just real quick, the locker for this one just has a different color on the outside. So rather than being a matte black, it goes with the very, very metallic green. And there it is, pretty much all I need in my life as far as Halo is concerned. A nice EOD setup. And this is produced pretty well, looking at the helmet there, because, you know, it does have the outline, which is super important, and it does have the visor. So, you know, those two paint applications, I think, worked out well. You know, the split visor eye holes there. And they also have the breathers on the side, which are done in a nice bright metallic silver. This one comes with the small SMG there. And you recognize that color. It stands out. It's very Halo. Maybe it looks a little bit on the celebratory side, you know, a little bit special, you know, not just like an in-game thing. I think it's a little bit more metallic than anything you'd actually see in-game, but I'm okay with that. You know, celebrate the green of Halo. Now, there is a little bit of difference, if you'll notice, between the color that's used for the helmet versus the color that's used for the armor pieces, especially the add-on armor pieces. And the helmet is a little bit more matte, a little bit more satin, not as glossy. And that same material is used for the forearms. That's common. It's typically what they do, actually. But, sorry, it's having a little bit of trouble focusing there, but you know, at least they're very, very close to each other. It really doesn't stand out unless you look very carefully and you're trying to nitpick, like I typically do. Because, hey, if I'm going to critique a thing, critique it. Look at all the elements of it. But I think that's enough time looking at the EOD, the default variant at least, that comes right out of the package. Let me try some of the others. This is a simple swap of the helmet over to the Rogue helmet, and that one does have a bit of Rogue paint. The black paint on this side, just that little dot there, but I believe that can just be scraped off. But this one is looking pretty proper. I think the shoulders need to be changed out for this one. The alternate shoulder armor style that they include in this set definitely does not work for the Rogue setup. This one actually has a little bit more gloss to its head, although still, you know, comparing it to the arms, it's in the same hue and brightness range, and the arms still have that matte look to them. But you can see how there's a little bit of multi-tonal effect to the armor pieces. I didn't actually scrape into them to see if they're layered up, but they definitely have multiple colors within them. I think the metallic flake is one color, and then the base mostly clear translucent resin color is another. So one is a little bit more bluish or more greenish, and the other is a little bit more reddish or yellowish, depending upon how you want to look at it. But overall, pretty well produced. Just need to scrape that little bit of black off, and this one's, you know, pretty close, pretty much there. And then here is a swap of the helmet and the body armor, the main chest body armor, and the shoulder pads. So maximum swappage here to create the Recon variant. And this makes for a better Recon than the Rogue made for Rogue, because this is just, you know, closer, just more proper overall, especially as viewed from the front. Another well-produced helmet with the two paint applications. You have that matte, or actually it's kind of satin. I guess everything's kind of satin. Everything's going to have some level of reflectiveness to it, but you know, the black outline, which is pretty proper. It's thick enough, but not too thick. And then the visor is printed in there fairly crisply. And even from a distance, you can really see the shine of it. So it stands out, and it stands on its own pretty properly. So that's about as good as I can reasonably ask for, especially at this scale for something that's mass produced. So this one, Yeah, I think the Rogue helmet design in general, not just from Mega, but in general, has grown on me over the years. I originally didn't like it, but this overall is just a stronger looking figure when you set it up this way, I think. And that's it for these two. Again, I found both of these at a physical Target location, and from what I've seen, they've been made available at a lot of Targets, so supply has been pretty good, and the aftermarket has not been able to force in any too ridiculous of markups on them yet. Also, I guess demand has not been too crazy, so even if you don't have a Target nearby, you should be able to find these at somewhat reasonable, palatable prices so far. So be sure to get them now before they start to run out. But that's it for my look at them. Hope that you enjoyed this. I do believe that the one wrong thing, the one bad thing here with the pieces that hold the shoulder armor in the lockers is an actual design issue, because I have the exact same tolerance and the exact same looseness on both sets, which tallies up to 4 separate pieces here. It may be just an issue of a certain batch. I may have gotten 2 sets that both came from one production batch, and then perhaps ones made before or after this are better, but otherwise everything is built pretty well. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you again as soon as I can.